council?
So a typical day for me as the domestic abuse prevention officer, no day is the same. Okay, we've created the Voices Against Domestic Abuse training, which we used lots of survivors with lived experience. I had my trainers nationally as well. So this is training that we created in the community, and we deliver that whether it's in school, whether it's in the community. And another part of my work is strategy as well. So the domestic abuse strategy, there's actions within that I have to execute on a daily basis. So it's changing attitudes and beliefs. It's your internal belief systems that we are trying to change. There's lots of avenues when it comes to changing domestic abuse. It goes hand in hand with violence against women and girls, making community, society better. But in reality, what we're trying to do with my community work and my domestic abuse work on the council, for me, it's understanding society, and the core mission is to change attitudes and beliefs. Because if you can change somebody's attitudes and beliefs towards thinking actually controlling another human being is wrong, whether it's physical abuse or emotional abuse. And you know, when you look at St. Helens, there's generational cycles of abuse. So every day is different for me. It's not a sitting on your laptop sort of job. It's in the community, it's engaging with the people, it's working with lots of partnership and improving systems. Because when you look at the services that we currently have, they are not trauma informed. They don't understand the service from a lived experience point of view, they know from a service provider point of view, but not from somebody who has to use the service. So what we're trying to do, especially with my job and especially with the Survivors Forum, is use real lived experience and truly create changes within the system and the wider partnership, which is so exciting.
What do you think specifically needs to be changed within the system? Is there a main priority that you can identify and that you want to see specific change?
I think the biggest change that needs to happen, not only within culture, not only with the community, it has to happen simultaneously. So for me, the police is they're a great partner for us. The way they are with their understanding around domestic abuse and violence against women and girls is a huge area, because they are our main referrers, because there's so many referrals coming from the police. So the police, for me, changing their attitudes and a better understanding of domestic abuse and violence against women and girls is so important. On the other hand, it has to happen simultaneously, is going into schools, is teaching families and parents, because there's no point teaching your kids and hoping the older generation, eventually we all pass away. It has to happen collectively, and it can't just happen with one person. This is why I've got my grassroots community work, and I've got my statutory frontline work as well, because I know in order to make change, it has to happen in every single layer. You need influence on every single layer, and you also need central government backing. So it's a simultaneous community coordination. You need all the partners involved, because not one person can be the hero here. And for me, if people change, in a sense, viewing domestic abuse as a negative, that, you know, we're meant to be the most intelligent species on the planet. Why the hell do we need to control somebody else? And why do we need to abuse? There's other ways of communication. And what I've noticed in certain areas of St. Helens, education isn't a priority. Conflict resolution, other ways of handling conflict, parenting classes, the offer isn't there. And let's make education a fun thing, you know, and this is where our community arm with St. Helens the Best Me CIC comes in, because we rock up as normal people saying, hey, try some different foods, and then we have intensive parenting course, and we don't even call it domestic abuse, we call it healthy relationships. And we teach people through a subconscious level, but they don't even think it's boring, like who are you to tell us to change, is having that level of grace, empathy, compassion without the judgment. Because if people come in thinking you're trying to change them, they're not interested. But if you do the package right, that let's make society a better place, collectively, look what I've been through, and I'm telling you I've changed, and if that change formula worked for me, it can work for anyone if you do the work. So it's amazing the connections I've made nationally as well as locally. And some of our training, you should see me waking up very early in the morning, delivering training to Africa and India, and it's great because I go in thinking I'm the teacher, but in rural parts of India and Africa, they teach me, which is incredible. And it's the same story. They say, we need you to be in the village, in every single household. So it's through education you can make impactful change, not just talking about it. It has to happen collectively where everyone feels as though actually this is my business. I want tomorrow to be a better tomorrow. So it's all about inspiring people without shaming or segregating good people, bad people. Yeah?
Do you think St. Helens is, how do you see yourself here in the future? Do you feel that you're establishing a real kind of sense of place here, and do you feel that you potentially want to continue to live here and work here?
St. Helens is definitely home for me, because if you look at my life of 25 years of abuse, it was chaotic. I am not the person, this version of Shana that you see today was created in St. Helens. So all the past Shanas, they don't exist anymore. So if St. Helens was a huge, huge factor to my transformation, and depends on what you think success is, then St. Helens is definitely home. Let's just say in 5-10 years time I'm somewhere else, I will never ever forget St. Helens, because my kids, all they know is St. Helens as home. My 2 boys, one's 8, one's 6. St. Helens is home for them now. My daughter, who's 18, her biggest transformation has happened in St. Helens. So if anybody even calls this town, it kind of makes me go a bit fuming, because my greatest transformation has happened in St. Helens, where I feel as though there is a connection with me and St. Helens now permanently. So whatever happens career-wise, St. Helens will always be home. And, you know, I love the people in St. Helens, you know. So it's a very, very special town for me. And the connection I have with St. Helens is definitely on a heart level. So, you know, imagine your rapid transformation happened in this area. It will always be home.